And part of the deal with conservation was that this private parcel would be given to the town. And thus the article in front of you. The preference of conservation is that the parcel rather is donated directly to conservation. If it was donated through town meeting, it would be generally held under the select board and could someday be transferred to Conscom. But the preference of Conscom is that it be given directly to conservation. So that's the process that will happen. It's certainly a very generous donation. We greatly appreciate it. You can see the green land is currently conservation held in Timberneck Swamp. There's a very small buffer that they're also working on to receive as a gift, which would complete this property. For reference, this is A Street, this is B Street, this is Canterbury, I believe, and this is Haverhill over here. And then this here is Varney Circle. So again, it's a very generous donation. It would help complete conservation's ownership of the parcel. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, just to test out a potential amendment, if somebody would like to just make a bogus amendment, just so we can try it out, just make sure it works. Jamie Mon.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jamie Mon, Precinct 4. I would like to amend Article 13 to state that the Conservation Commission will use the described property to build a skateboard park.
Okay, is there a second? We just have a raise of hands here. Let's see if I can get my participants back. Plenty of seconds, okay. Mr. Mon, do you want to talk on that, or are you all set?
I would just like to say I've taken up skateboarding during the coronavirus and have yet to break my neck, so I would like a place to practice.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other discussion? Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, I'd like to know if the skateboarders are dressed as deer, would hunting be allowed on this property? That's been an issue in some of the other properties. Thank you.
Good question. Mr. Garcia.
Yes, as part of this amendment, I would like to have added that Mr. Mon be required to wear a body cam and that a video be posted every Friday.
I think we can take that as a friendly amendment. Okay, thank you very much. I think that seems to work. Everybody is able to see that, I hope. Let us know in the chat if you cannot, but we're trying to make the changes on the screen so you can see that. Let's see. All right, that sounds good. Before we try out the voting, I want to find out, are we working at the PAC yet?
Mr. Moderator, I just unmuted the PAC. The camera there in RCTV Studios was picking up a lot of the discussion, so I muted them. I've asked them to unmute at this time, but I don't know if they're in yet. Oh, yep, PAC's on now. Steven said.
Okay, Mr. Crook, can you test out the microphone down there just so we know everything works?
I've just allowed him to talk.
Okay, well, do we have the microphone set up in the front that the town meeting members would use?
Steven should be able to answer.
Okay, Mr. Crook?
His hand's up. I see his hand up.
Yeah, Mr. Crook, can we unmute him, or can we?
He's unmuted.
He's unmuted.
Yeah, we should probably just go ahead and test the voting. I think they probably have some technical things that they need to.
Okay, we'll work on that afterwards then. Okay, we're going to put up a polling for the proposed amendment, and I would like everybody here to vote one way or the other, just so we know that you're able to vote. We should have a total of 45 votes.
I don't know. Now it's working.
I can hear him.
Can hear him. Okay, so far we have 37 of 45 people, 38, 39. Okay, we're still coming in.
Mr. Moderator, as a note, there are some folks with their hands raised in the, some attendees.
Oh, okay. Ms. Laterio.
So, let's see, let me just go back and mute myself, I guess.
Oh,
Am I muted now? Yeah,
You're all set.
Okay.
Are we ready for the PAC vote?
Oh, all right. We do have a, okay, Mr. Crook, do we have a microphone set up for town
Yes.
meeting members? Could you test that out? Could you, I don't, do you have any other, are there any town meeting members down there today? Mr. Crook,
Yes.
are there any town
PAC
meeting
votes
members?
1, yes, 0, no.
Okay, thank you. Are there, is the microphone for town meeting members working at the PAC? Not your own, but are you speaking from your computer or are you speaking from a common microphone?
Trying to use the common microphone.
Oh, you are? Oh, all right, good enough.
We're
Okay,
working on that.
all right. We got 41 votes out of 45. Is there anyone that had problems using the hand raising function
Or the poll.
on the poll?
Yeah, poll function, not hand raising.
I'm sorry, yeah, the poll function, not the hand raising. All right, it seems like nobody is commenting.
Well,
All right,
Do you want, I know Laura, you can see the results and so can you, Alan. Do you want it shared? I forget.
yes, yeah, that we can share that.
Yeah, once it's determined that we're stopping the poll, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
okay, so at this point, we would stop the poll. We have 41 votes in. So can we share that?
Should be, yep.
Great. All right, and then at this point, we would then take a vote on in this case, the amendment would have carried the body cam. So we would now take a vote on the final vote. So let's test that out if we have that. We do. Okay, so you can vote one more time. This is on the final vote.
Mr. Moderator, just as a point of order, we're in the chat, we're getting some questions from folks saying that they voted no and they wanted to make sure that we got their no vote. So we should make sure we read the results of the poll aloud, even though folks can see the results as they come up. I think it's good to read the results.
Okay. Good point. You're right. Normally, we would have done that. I was just sort of playing with getting this thing up. But you're right. I will announce the vote. I would have to announce the vote. So in this case, we'll try this out when all the votes come in.
Mr. Moderator, so the vote is typically declared by the town clerk, and then you would read the final vote.
Right, and I would declare the vote, right.
So for the amendment, it was 27 yes, 14 no, and at the PAC it was 1 yes, 0 no, with a total of 28 to 14.
Okay, the vote being 28 in favor and 14 in the negative, the motion to amend carries. And now we are on to the final vote here.
Mr. Moderator, there's a point of order in the chat from Mr. Mon. He is calling for a roll call vote.
Okay, that brings up a good point. At the last meeting in June, we had turned on the recording of all votes at the granular level. Part of it is we were new at this and we weren't sure what the state law was. So we did that and it became part of the official record. But that automatically made every vote a roll call vote. This time around, we have tried to conform to our own bylaws a little more carefully. So the default is that it is not a roll call vote. But in this case, if, like, as Mr. Mon has tested out this, if 20 members called for a roll call vote, rather than us going through the roll call, we would actually turn on that roll call option and they would be recorded. So that's what would happen normally.
So I don't know if I can do that by poll. I think we'd have to go, Kevin, wouldn't we have to go into the settings?
I think on each polling question, you can change it. There's an option for it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we actually checked this out earlier. We should have.
Oh,
kept
because
you
you're
up
so
with it.
smart. All right.
But I hope that's a good explanation. So in this case, the vote being 28 in the affirmative, 7 in the negative, the motion carries. At this point.
Laura,
Forgot me.
Laura's supposed to say that.
Forgot me. I'm supposed to say that, and we're also supposed to get the vote from the PAC.
You're right. You're right. We're trying too many things at once here. Let's try that all again. Okay, the town clerk will read the vote. Oh, first of all, we need the vote from the PAC. Mr.
Yes.
Crook,
The PAC votes 1 yes, 0 no.
and the town clerk will.
Okay, so the, at 28 yes and 7 no, that brings a total to 29 yes and 7 no.
The vote being 29 in the affirmative and 7 in the negative, the motion carries.
All right,
And then-
Mr. Porter, we have a few.
So may I step in for a moment?
Sure.
So the point of order was requesting a roll call vote. Does that mean we should have done a roll call vote for that? I have two questions there. Should we have done a polling of the town meeting members for a roll call vote? And when is it too late to call a roll call? Because the request came in after the poll already hit the screen and they started voting.
The request needs to come in before we begin voting. So you're right, it's a little bit of we have to be careful of that, and we have to watch for that. But then it takes 20 town meeting members to call for it. So at that point, if we had somebody asking for a roll call vote, I would then ask, do we have 20 town meeting members asking for a roll call vote?
And that needs to come up before they start voting on the poll.
It needs to come up before we start, right?
Yeah, and then I think, I guess I'll definitely have to be logged in as webinar and rename myself, because that's where I believe you're right. You can turn it from anonymous to not anonymous.
Okay. So we have a few.
Yes, Alan, there's a question in the chat. Would we know who voted with with the technology? Is the need for a roll call vote to know who voted which way at the time of the vote, or is it just to capture it?
Just to capture it. Let me go back to start with. Okay, what I would do in a normal town meeting, I would say, are we ready for the vote? And then seeing no, in this case, I'll have to slow it down a little bit to make sure I watch the chat. If I see that somebody has requested a roll call vote, at that point, I would say, we have a request for a roll call vote. Are there 20 town meeting members? If there are 20 town meeting members, we would then have to turn on the option for capturing the vote.
And we would do that by a raise of hands?
Yes, I would watch for 20 hands raised in the hand raising option. Is that clear? I know we're sort of doing this on the fly, but I think that seems to be pretty clear how that would happen.
And we have one person, Roy, it looks like Benjamin, who did not receive the poll. I don't know, that might be your pop-up didn't show up because we were having good voting so far.
I can relaunch it if he wants to try it again.
All right, we also have 3 hands raised, Mr. Moderator, in the so I think we should kind of take those and then try relaunching the poll and doing a roll.
Okay, we'll try that out. Mr. Anderson, I see you first. We'll try you.
There. Hi, Carl Anderson, Precinct 7. I was waiting for my unmute to come up. So I know we're practicing and the article is not really real, but the vote kept saying Article 4. And what we're talking about was Article 13.
That's correct. I just grabbed one.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure so when we do the real thing, we know what we're hitting yes or no on. Thank you.
Yep.
Good point. But yes, that we were just grabbing what we had set up. Mr. Garcia.
Hi, Fausto Garcia, Precinct 3. I have a request. Because of the potential glitches with, the technology, is it possible to report the voting as yes, no, and abstention or no vote received?
The entire session is being recorded with the polls coming up, so those votes would be recorded.
No, okay. When you put up the results of the poll.
Yes.
Okay, let's say I was uncertain if my vote actually made it through because of technology. Okay, if I knew I voted yes, and there was only one vote that came up as not received or as voting not concerned, I think that would help. I don't know if that's possible within the system, but I think it's kind of a safety net if the roll call vote is not implemented.
We would have to do the math. So if we have 42 in this case, we have 42 on, we had 28 vote yes, 7 vote no. We would have to add that and subtract it from the 42.
Right. And again, my question is that possible, or would that be too cumbersome in the actual town meeting?
I think he's asking if, you know, the total of yes plus no don't equal the total number of town meeting members. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, we don't normally count to make sure everybody votes at town meeting, do we?
No,
Correct.
we do not.
Yeah, in fact, there's no reason to in a regular town meeting.
And
Right.
to be honest, we never really have an idea how many people are in the pack during a regular town meeting.
True, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, just, you know, again, just a safety net for the technology. That's all. And
Yeah.
I understand your comments. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying it's what we need to do.
Okay, Jamie Mon, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jamie Mon, Precinct 4. The purpose of a roll call vote is to see who voted for or against a warrant article. But as I understand it, and maybe I misunderstood, the way you have it set up, you would have to go back and look at the record after the meeting to see who voted for or against. I think that we should see in real time, if a roll call vote is approved, who voted in the affirmative, who voted in the negative, or to the previous 10 meeting members question, who abstained.
It is, you're correct. It's a 24-hour delay. We wouldn't know, it gets recorded, but we wouldn't know until the next day. You need to know at the night of the meeting. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Alan,
under normal 10 meeting members, you would know
Sure, absolutely.
at the time. So I think we should replicate that at this Zoom meeting, unless it's not feasible.
Alan,
Laura,
if
do you
I'm
have a
not
point?
mistaken, that if it's a roll call, we would specifically have to call out each town member's name and see how they vote.
Correct. That's what we would do. That's what we've done in the past for a roll call, and
Okay,
they've been very infrequent, and
Sure,
I don't
but-
anticipate any now. But I think that that's what we do in person. I think that's what we should do now, if there is, in case an approved roll call vote.
That probably makes sense. Yeah, okay. We were just trying to speed it up if we began to have a lot of roll call votes, but you're right. Maybe we should just stick with the regular process. That's probably not a bad idea. We're sort of, yes, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
All right, is there anything else? I noticed that there's some big news happening in the world stage. You may want to get to your TVs soon, but I just want to make sure nobody else has any questions.
You can't do that. You can't say that, Mr. Moderator. That's just not fair. Ugh.
No, I'm impartial on here. Okay, any other questions? If not, I want to thank you all for both your participation and your suggestions today, and we'll see you all Monday night.
So did we want to relaunch the poll just to make sure Mr. Benjamin, was it Mr. Benjamin? Someone couldn't see the poll?
You want to relaunch the poll?
In the chat, Roy Benjamin said that he did not receive the polling question.
Oh, all right, all right. I missed that point. Yes, let's relaunch it then.
Is that Kevin? I'm having a hard time hearing him.
Yes, I was too. Okay, could everybody just
There you go. Okay, Mr. Benjamin, if you can let us know in the chat if you're receiving the poll or not. It is up on the screen currently. That would be great.
He still does not see the poll.
I do not see the poll.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
No,
Oh,
kind of.
Okay, is it just quiet?
Yeah.
It's an echo.
I fixed it.
So for Roy Benjamin, we will reach out to him. We have 3 other technical issues that we'll be addressing. We do have Zoom support on the hook for us tomorrow night. So we might not be able to resolve it until tomorrow, but between now and then, what I'd say is issues like this seem to be resolved by updating the Zoom client, or that people are connecting via the Zoom webpage and not installing a client on either their computer or their tablet or phone, whatever you're connecting with. So what I'd suggest is if you're using the web client, you will want to install the actual app. So, you know, when you visit to join a meeting, it might say, do you want to install the Zoom app? At which point you'd say yes. Using the web interface alone is not good for polling question responses. If you are using the client, I'd suggest updating it. And I think that a link was provided on how to go about updating it. But in addition, we'll write down your name and probably, I think I might have said tomorrow, but Monday we'll reach out to you and see if we can address it.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Anything else? All right, again, thank you all for coming, and we will see you all Monday night.
Mr. Benjamin has asked for the link to be resent for upgrading the client.
I will take care of that.
Laura. Okay, that should be great. Mr. Moderator, does it make any sense to practice a roll call vote?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because it would work just like it would. No, funny, we just discussed this before the meeting, how we were going to do it, but now we sort of changed on the fly. But I think maybe he's right. And
Well,
you know, it's not going to happen anyway. They so rare. There's
Yeah,
been two in the last 20 years.
if we do that, we'll just want to preempt, just to let everybody know that we have to let them allow to talk. I'll go about letting them on, you know, one at a time, but it's going to be onerous. So
It'd be a long, involved process using Zoom. It's a little bit different than in town meeting, but if that's, it probably makes sense. It probably, I'm trying to replicate things as much as possible. So that probably does.
it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done.
It's going to have to be a way to capture each one of those votes, folks writing it down too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would guess that would have to have some time to, you know, you'll call off the name and then somebody will have to record one way or the other. I also see that being pretty time consuming.
It is. Even in a real town meeting, regular town meeting, it's time consuming, but it doesn't luckily happen very often.
Well, one other option is we could run if we do the roll call vote like we were thinking about doing it, can it be read by one of the panelists into the record? So if they took it on the poll function and it captured all the names, would we be able to pull it up in real time ourselves and look at that?
I think we don't get it until the next day. Isn't that correct, Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was what I thought. All right.
I think we're probably overthinking the roll call because of all these comments we've had. But there really, like Bob said, there isn't much on this warrant that's going to call for that. Well, you never know. It could be one of the instructional motions. That's usually where people get hot and heavy about things.
Bruce McKenzie says it's faster if members put their roll call answer in the chat. Maybe, but then it would also still have to go one by one and catalog it.
I think maybe Jamie Mon's right. We just do it the regular way. It's not likely to happen. If it does, we just take the time.
Or it may happen the first time and then it'll be realized how long it takes.
Yeah, we're not doing that again.
20 votes for another roll call. Yeah, it's possible. All right. Well, I think we're good. We have all the information here. People are using the chat well and giving us feedback, so that's helpful. So I think we're good. I think we're ready for Monday.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Figures I stayed up all night waiting for this news, and
I know. Now you get.
I don't think it's true though, because
no, I've got the TV on now. It's right.
Yeah, but the president just tweeted that he won this election by a lot. So,
oh yeah, that's true. That's
I don't know.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fantastic. All right.
All right. We will see you all. I'll be there at least an hour early on Monday.
All right, yeah, we'll be in the office by.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk to you all later. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for participating.
Gail, can you stick around?
Yep. I can.